Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Disability Advisory Board, June 12th, 2024. We have with us Abby, Cynthia, and Michelle tonight, so we have a quorum. And my name is Lisa, and we will begin right away with first order of business is to approve the April 10th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
All right, Abby, a second?
I second.
Okay. Was that Michelle or? No,
Cynthia.
Michelle, if you want to unmute, I couldn't hear you, so maybe you can unmute. Okay. All right, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes, say aye. Okay.
Aye.
Okay. All right, since we have a caller on the line, I'd like to start with the caller. This way, she doesn't have to sit through the rest of the meeting if she doesn't want to. So we have Teresa on the phone. She's a Lower Makefield Township resident. Teresa, would you like to share with us your question or comments tonight?
Sure, thank you so much. My name is Teresa Miller. I'm grateful to be here tonight, and I found out about this board through the website. I am beginning conversations with my homeowners association in Makefield Glen, asking for some help and guidance with installing wheelchair ramps, as well as some problems that I'm facing right now with the way that the curb cuts are. I'm not able to access the paratransit bus the way that things are set up now. And so I had spoken recently, I believe, with Lisa, and she provided some helpful guidance. And I'm here for any more help or support y'all might be able to provide. And I don't know about the future, but this could potentially be a board that I'd be honored to sit on. It sounds like you guys are doing some great work, and I thank you.
Great. Well, welcome, and thank you for sharing your story with us. So I'm just going to give a little background, Teresa, if you don't mind. So Teresa and I had talked earlier this week, and so the issue is the ADA guidance is really there for public accommodations. So if you think about it, like in this room, it has to be accessible because there's public meetings being held here. Stores, restaurants, they're public areas, doctor's office, hospitals, and so on. So the ADA really applies, rules and regs apply to those type of places. So there is HOAs, and especially at Makefield Glen, that's a situation where there's homeowners, right? It's not an apartment complex. It's everyone owns their individual townhouse, a condo, whatever is in there. So there's not this public accommodation, going on. Now, if they had a clubhouse, that would have to be ADA accessible if they were holding events there. So in other words, they may be rented out for parties or, any type of event. In that case, then the ADA, you would have to follow those rules. So when it comes to an individual homeowner asking for assistance from an HOA, for their home or outside of their home, it gets a little tricky. They're not under, any law per se to have to do this. Now, is it the right thing to do? That's different than have to do it, right? So what I suggested were a couple things. Number one, oftentimes if you reach out to the HOA yourself, and not just the property manager. Sometimes property managers are the gatekeepers, and they don't even, let the board members know what's going on. So, my suggestion was absolutely right now she should be, Teresa should be reaching out to maybe the person that's involved with architectural review, which just means, making changes to either outside of your home and or curb cuts, sidewalks, things like that. And, starting there first to see if they are willing, what their willingness is to help. It could be simply at the end of the curb, where it's ADA accessible, right now, I think Teresa, I think you said there's no striping, it's just a car could be parked there, so we would be blocking access, correct?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody parks there.
Right, so it's blocking access to an accessible, existing accessible curb cut. So to me, that solution is so simple. You put striping at the end of the curb cut.
Right.
Right? And then you can get your transportation, you can get your car there, in some HOAs, I have seen that they will give a person a handicap parking spot. Like they'll put it outside of your home. So I would even ask for, a
That's what I was-
handicap.
I was going to, may I jump in?
Sure,
just
go ahead, Michelle.
Because I don't know your history, Teresa, and are you a homeowner or are you renting in Makefield, Glen?
I've owned this home since 2007.
Okay. So I'm kind of thinking out of the box, as Lisa had mentioned, of some simple changes that the HOA may be able to accommodate. But there are agencies, if it relates to maybe, doing a wheelchair ramp and certain things that they might be able to help support you with as a homeowner. Makefield Glen may be one of those developments that was kind of grandfathered on some of the ADA stuff that prior to when it was built. So that might be some of the challenges. But as Lisa mentioned, the first step would definitely be the HOA to see how they could do some easy accommodations, for a person with a disability, which definitely it would be a no-brainer, kind of just thinking from a policy level and stuff like that.
So I think, I think that's where you start, and then if you need guidance from us, like Michelle was saying, we can probably point you to an agency that could assist, whether it's, do you have to take a legal avenue, which that's the last resort, obviously.
And there's agencies, depending upon income variance, and Center of Independent Living might be a lane to sort of lead to, but there's agencies, one in particular, I believe is out in Chester County, but they do a lot of stuff on home accommodations and things like that. And maybe on the exterior portion too, they could help.
So that's where we could help,
Right.
Maybe point you in the right direction to some agencies. And the Bucks County Center for Independent Living is local. I think it's in Ben
Correct.
Salem now, but, as local as it gets for us.
Yeah.
And they definitely could point you in a direction of whether it's an agency to help you modify your house or, trying
They
to
would
find,
definitely-
they could assist you. So I could, send you that information also. So is
Sure,
that,
I've spoken. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I on?
good? No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yes, I had spoken with Claire, who I believe is at like the Lehigh Valley branch of PITL. I'm not sure if they're related.
Yes,
but
she
I
is,
spoke with her
yeah.
about another matter. Okay, perfect. And so I have her contact, and my status right now with just, not permanent ramps, but I did obtain it's the Temple Owl. I don't know if it's considered like a lending library.
Okay.
They are providing me with 2 ramps that are 30 inches wide and 3 feet long each. But I'm just waiting for my stepdaughter to go to Temple and bring them to my home for me. And then once they get here and she sets them up is when I can then provide the management organization or the HOA with photos of what it looks like. And then at that point, they would approve or deny it based on the appearance,
Okay.
presumably. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Abby, do you have any information on that?
The Tech Owl is like a great resource for people with disabilities. It is the lending area for our county districted area of Pennsylvania, and they do a ton of things. They will lend all sorts of mobility aids. They have a 3D printer where they can help print different items. They have a lending library where you can try out all sorts of different equipment on a lending basis. It's a
And-
great resource.
And where are they located?
It's in Philadelphia at Temple,
Oh, okay.
Temple University.
Temple University, okay.
And they now have actually just recently opened a public space where they're holding events and things.
For,
People with
like,
disabilities.
and they would have all the equipment there that potentially?
Some of them are. They do, they did classes on how to switch adapt toys. They've done a sensory art hour. They do all different kinds of activities.
Okay. And that's,
Abby, may I get that info and I'll post it in our minutes, and I think we should put it on our website. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
I didn't even, I'm a person with a disability and I didn't know about that. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll definitely email it, but it's called TechOwl, TECHOWL. It's at the Institute on Disabilities at Temple University.
Wonderful. Thank you.
They do a lot of great stuff.
Okay. Thanks.
it's a shame it's so far, but yeah, because it sounds,
I'm pretty sure they can mail you things too.
okay, right, okay. All right, Teresa, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a valuable service to a lot of people, to try something out, but maybe before you buy it, you know, on a temporary basis, whether it's equipment or ramps, you know, anything that you need. So that would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad to share that. And thank you for the good feedback. I've had a good experience too. I'm just hoping that Katie's able to pick up the ramps. She's working, so the hours are a little tough for her.
Well, that's great. She can help you out and pick that, you know, the equipment up for you and get it to you. Okay, so it sounds like you have a plan. You're moving forward with, you know, getting your ramp. You'll get it approved by the HOA. Hopefully they'll approve it. I don't see why they wouldn't, unless it's a dangerous situation, you know, putting it in the way of maybe something, but I'm sure you could work that out. And then I would continue the process of asking them for the striping or a handicap spot so you can easily access, whether it's Access Link or what's it called? That's New Jersey, I believe, Bucks County Transport. I get New Jersey and Pennsylvania mixed up, you know, so that you can exit anyone's car or, you know, a van if you need to, so.
Yeah, thank you so
Okay.
much, everybody. I really appreciate it.
And you can email, our email is DAB, so Disability Advisory Board, just DAB@lmt.org. I believe you have my cell phone too, if it, on your caller ID, so feel free to give me a call.
Great. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Lisa, and everybody.
Sure. And keep in touch if you want to join our board in the future. When you get yourself situated, we'd be happy, you know, for you to send in your resume.
You
Okay.
bet. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else we can do for you?
No, could I stay and listen to the rest of the meeting?
I guess that's how it works, right, David? Or can she hang on the line and listen to our meeting? Yes, that's fine. Okay, great.
I'll mute. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next agenda item is the future of our meetings. Obviously, they are back in person, so that was on our agenda. I did not think that it was happening until September, but due to the law, the Sunshine Law, or whatever, I think during COVID, we were allowed to meet via Zoom, but now all meetings have to be in person. So that's why we're kind of doing this. And what that means is we hold our meeting, and anyone is welcome to attend the public meeting at the building. This is not live streamed, so it will be shown and posted on the website afterwards. I don't know how many days it takes, you know, to post. And then, so we have to be aware that maybe if we want to get out information, somebody might see it a couple days later. So that's why I wanted to give out like the, you know, anyone can call the township building and we will call you back, or you can email us. And, but the way that people would call in, just like Teresa, she would have to, I spoke with her so she was aware, but people have to go to the Lower Makefield Township website, look at our, or any board's meeting agenda. At the bottom of the agenda will be the call-in information. So that person will know the time, but really they won't be watching us, live. So they're just going to have to call in whenever they can, and just like Teresa did, and we'll address it, and then it will be shown afterwards, So that's what we're going to do for future meetings, okay? And then again, we have Zoom available for.
That we have to meet in person.
Say that again?
That's part of the text of the Sunshine Law, is that the meetings have to be in person.
Yes, yeah. Let me just see. Yeah, it's the requirements of the Sunshine Act, that's what it is, and that have to return to in-person or self-administered Zoom. That's what this is, the self-administered. And they must, so all boards and commission meetings must have a physical location. That's the problem, to be valid under the Sunshine Law, so.
We could do both technically, but we could do what we're doing tonight. We could
Correct.
call in and attend the meeting.
Yes, mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
One of us would have to be here because right now they have someone here, Dave's here to assist us for the first
Right.
few meetings, but in the future, it's self-administered, so we would have to
Okay.
log in via computer and then let people in as they call
Okay.
in, okay?
Got
So somebody would always have to be physically here, at least one of us. So we'll have to work that out in the future.
Is there anyone, we used to attend the township meetings as representatives for another commission. Do you have public attendance tonight? If people know that our meeting is tonight, they can come into the township, right?
Yes,
They can-
so it's advertised, it's been advertised in the paper, it's advertised on the township website, that
Okay.
anyone can attend, just like at the Board of Supervisors meetings. Okay, so, next, I just wanted to bring up, we still have 2 open positions and 1 alternate, or actually 1 right now and 1 alternate, but I will let Michele will be on the board until, probably for a couple months, right?
Yeah. Cynthia, you may not know, Abby, I recently put my house up, so it is about 99.9% that I will not be residing in the township,
Right,
or the state, actually.
yeah, or the state.
As much as I love Pennsylvania, I'm a Pennsylvania girl. I thought about it for long and hard, but yeah, it's time to downsize and move closer to one of my kids. So
Okay, well, we'll enjoy having you for as long as it takes to sell your house.
exactly,
Yeah.
we're gonna say a prayer. We have
Yeah,
not-
I hope it goes quickly, just,
I know.
Yeah.
It's a unique place, so
Yeah.
it's got to find the right
Yeah.
old house lover. But we'll say a little prayer. So
right. And,
I'll be here as long as you guys want to kick me off, or
no, but we still have open positions, so it's not like
know.
we're waiting for you to leave so somebody can come on. I mean, we
know.
currently have open positions, so people can still send your resume in to the township, and they will review your resume, and it's a simple process, so. Okay, our upcoming events, we have the 5K Anyway Run, and that will be occurring, the Parks and Rec Department does run that on July 20th, and that's, I think it starts at 8. I don't know the exact time, but any volunteers should be there probably 7 to 9. It usually is 7 to 9. So in the past, we've had, maybe a couple of us have shown up, to assist with that, and we just do sign-ins and, put the food out, help with the trophies, and it's just a great experience. It's down at Makefield, so people can walk it or do the run, and we encourage everyone. It's a flat surface. It's not just, it's for anyone to participate. The proceeds do go towards a general fund for accessibility in the township, though. So we encourage everyone to sign up for that. You can find that on the website, and I think they're blasting that out on Facebook pages and things like that. So if you don't have to let us know right now, if you can participate as a volunteer, but just know that that's the day and the time, and then we'll get more information as far as, the help that they need. I think I'm around that Saturday, so I'll be there again. And come to get dirty, because that stuff flies all over. It's the color. They throw it on you. And
It's fun.
It is fun.
I
But
like it.
yeah, but they do set up an area that if you don't want the color thrown on you, if you have sensory issues, they have like a little area that you can bypass the mess, because it does get messy. So, just wanted to mention that we attended, Cynthia and I were at the 5 Mile Woods ribbon cutting ceremony on April 21st. And what a wonderful, wonderful project that is. Let me just tell you, it's, people were walking and we strolling on the new boardwalk. And it's pretty long. I was surprised. I think they said it's 710 feet, but it's plenty wide. They're really going to enhance some of the things that people can attend off the ramp. There's some Boy Scout projects that are going to be occurring that make a pathway to areas where they might hold some nature, not camp, but seminars or like little sessions to learn about nature. So it's really exciting, and I just think it's such an asset to the township. And those volunteers worked, such dedication. So even if you aren't disabled, it's just nice to, if you have a baby with a stroller, you can kind of stroll on down there. But we had one gentleman come in a wheelchair and, a power chair, and it was fairly large, and he was able to navigate with no problem, and turning around at the end of it and coming back, a little platform area that he could pull off on. It was just wonderful to see it in action, basically. The signage looks great, telling people where the trail ends, the slope, the maximum and the minimum slope. So it's just very well done. I encourage everyone to just get out there and just take a look at it. So thank you again to everyone involved in that. I think they're going to try to do additional work there. I don't know if PICO is going to continue to give some grants. We can come up with more funding, but as much funding as we get, that's how many more feet it's going to go out. So, all right, next we have Parks and Rec update. We work with them very closely on many projects. And the one project that Monica Tierney reached out is that they need to update the ADA transition plan. So this is a plan that we had done a few years back, and they just want us to take a look. So I sent everyone, the actual plan that we had come up with, and we should just take a look to see if there's any updating that we want to do on that. So if everyone can just, take time and review it, and then we can get back to them and, hopefully, update some of the areas. I think some things have been done, but,
One thing I noticed when looking at it was a lot of the bathrooms weren't accessible to just even go in and assess the accessibility of, because it was during COVID. So maybe that's something to revisit.
Right, okay, yeah, good point. And there are other things like, accessible benches and making sure trash cans are within accessible, reach, all the handicap parking. So those are things that, to me, those are pretty simple, and they probably are done, because I see here like Memorial Park, I know all the handicap parking was updated when they did the recent northern end, they did the pickleball courts and all. So I just think maybe what we'll do is we can, I can assign out maybe a park, and, we can each go out and take one park and just kind of go down the line and see if it's already been taken care of or if it hasn't been taken care of, and then if there's any additional items we can add to it. So this doesn't have to be done right away, but while, the summer, we can maybe take the summer and the fall to do that. So we can, like I said, I'll see if we can assign out some, and, as you have time in the next few months, we can maybe chip away at it. Now, the one thing that was on here that is,
related to that, I have a quick question. Maybe somebody can answer for me. Recently, I visited a disc golf course. I don't know if you know what that is, where they throw the
is it like a frisbee? You throw it?
Yeah. So they had pins and so on. But anyway, they had porta potties there rather than regular restrooms, and they did have one handicapped porta potty. And I was just wondering, like, for example, the new tennis courts that are on Schuyler Drive, is that like a requirement that if you have porta potties, one of them has to be wheelchair accessible? Do you know?
Yes, I remember talking, like for community events and all, that we always said that if you have one, it must be handicap accessible, almost like a parking spot. If you only have one, it should be handicap accessible. If you have more than one or two or three for an event, you don't have to have every one be handicap accessible, but always to have one. Yeah.
Okay.
So do you know if Schuyler has a porta potty there? I haven't been by there.
Yeah, that's what they have, porta potties there, but I didn't check them out to see if one was wheelchair accessible.
Okay, and that'll be,
That's one I can check. Yep.
yeah, so that, maybe you can take that one, Schuyler, that's on our
Yeah, that
plan.
should be on our checklist.
And then that
Make
would
sure
be
we
a
have one.
suggestion then to have, if they only have one, it should be handicap accessible, yes. But I think part of the plan that wasn't on here is the ADA programming. And they did hire someone, at the township building that's in charge of programming now. And I think they wanted to kind of start that. So I don't know if we want to reach out to them. Maybe I'll ask Monica for his contact information and see when they're ready to start that. Because I know he was just getting his feet wet as far as, just getting up to speed on all the township requirements. And they already have started summer camps, I guess, right? So this would probably be more for future, like next year camps and things like that. But I think that should be part of our update to the ADA transition plan, to add the programming part.
Agreed.
So do you have any ideas on that? Or you don't have to have ideas, but if you were to sign up a child for a camp or whatever, is there a special form, or do you really want to have to talk to somebody individually? Like, I just feel like there's not one form that's going to fit all needs, right? Sorry.
So the summer camp that my daughter attends, we fill out the paperwork, and there's like open-ended questions about like the activities that they're doing, or like what kind, there's like a whole box dedicated to like how best do they learn, or how best do, should I present instructions, or things like this that are like very open-ended questions that seems to work.
So I think, yes.
And then they can reach out, which they do always reach out.
I think
before
that
summer
should be our
starts.
recommendation, is like we create a form, open-ended, but some specific questions that would be
Right,
helpful.
related to their programming.
Right, and then know that they're probably going to have to reach out and discuss before, it's not just submitting a form and
Right.
accepting, yeah.
But
Okay.
it gives them like an idea of the kind of areas or needs that the kids would have.
And what do you do, what if your child wants to do something and it's just not physically possible? Say it's a camp for going to the 5 Mile Woods and
Right.
spending all day there. Do you just accept that and say, okay, or do you say, can you do another week for maybe changing the programming to be all accessible? How do you navigate that?
As of right now, we haven't come across that. This will
Okay.
be the first year that my daughter is going on a field trip, and they're going to Tyler State Park.
Okay.
But she won't be in a wheelchair or anything where she would need those accommodations. It's very limited when you have field trips because of if you have a wheelchair van, having a nurse go, like, it can get complicated.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we want to encourage. So if that particular program might not meet the needs of that individual, child, maybe we steer them to this program, saying,
Yes.
maybe there's,
We did run into that this summer. My daughter wanted to do like a sports camp. It was like Philadelphia sports where they were going to play basketball and stuff. And she ended up having to have emergency surgery the end of, I guess, over Easter. And we reached out to the camp and they asked for a note saying what her restrictions were from the doctor. And they suggested that she pick something else because
Okay.
those wouldn't fit in to like
but they had
necessarily what she-
opportunities for other
Correct.
type of
Activities,
Okay. And I think that's how, maybe in our recommendation, never say, no, we don't want you, you can't do that.
Correct.
You guide them to what they can
Yeah,
do.
right, try to word it in the sense that try to accommodate everyone. I
Mhm.
mean, especially since we're a county thing. If it was a private, then it might be a little bit different, but we're trying to accommodate all the, children in some ways, I would think, but
Right.
it's probably difficult, in a lot of ways, like you'd said, Abby, so.
It is. There's a lot of different things to think about, and you can't cover everything all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm really happy that Abby's with us. She's got experience and I think be perfect for working with the program director on, having ADA accessible programming within our township. So that's great. So thankful.
The transmission, the sound keeps breaking up for me. I don't know if you're having any problem with it, Michelle, but I kind of missed the first part of this. Are we talking about Camp LMT or?
Any of the camps that are offered, any of the camps that are offered by LMT, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have to, it's been years since my kids did camp. I mean, honestly, I don't even remember, did we have them? Alex graduated 2010 from high school.
LMT did not have,
I
LMT
was
did not
gonna
have
say,
it,
we just had
no.
the swimming pool and the swim
Yeah.
gym.
It was ever since the community center was built.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I have to say, we are probably one of the few townships within the county that have these summer programs, and then on top of it, layering wanting to do accommodations for children in an ADA. It's really a treasure. I mean, it's nice to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we will get on that.
Yeah.
And then there's no updates on Veterans Park, pool bathrooms, community center handicap door, and Memorial Garden at this point. So they're just still working on all of those. The one thing, last night, the Parks and Rec held their meeting to discuss the Makefield Steering Committee project, what to do with Makefield. They had a near-term plan and a long-term plan. The near term is really dealing with issues such as traffic, number of fields, congestion, that type of thing. The long term is trying to fit in with the whole play for all in our township that Parks and Rec has been pushing, and that, how do people want to use Makefield, Park? Right now, it is mostly considered a sports complex, and I think according to some of the surveys and meetings, people would like to see it more like a park that has a lot more passive type play, some
Nice.
themed playgrounds, make it more of a community park rather than just a sports complex. So it's a long-term, project, obviously. But the near term, they did show some slides, and they are available on the website. Under the Parks and Rec, you could see the slides. and to try to make it safer. I mean, that's the key word, is make it safe for pedestrians and all the cars that are going through there. Their proposal was to take away one of the ball fields, and Parks and Rec Board was not happy with that, especially with this Play for All. The other issue is they took a lot of the parking spots away from one area that, like, people watch the football games from their cars if it's raining and so on. But they're still looking into a second exit out of the park, but PennDOT has to give approval for that kind of, it's just so preliminary right now. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because the parking, I feel, for many of the fields, handicap parking, they're going to have adequate number, but the placement of these, it's going to be really far for some of the, I mean, right now, even Mackles, it's very far for some of those fields way out in no man's land, right?
Yeah.
So, but even for like the regular fields that are the football fields, the turf fields, the parking, I could see is potentially going to be an issue. Like grandparents, I mean, I'm not even talking about wheelchair. I'm just talking people with
In general.
canes or, someone that has just a problem walking. It's going to be an issue. So they have a lot more to work out, so I really didn't get up to speak because I felt it was too preliminary in their process, for me to start saying, well, you need to put up a spot here, you need to put a spot here. They're not there yet. But I think we need to keep our eye on that and just make sure that they definitely are in compliance. That's not going to be the problem with the number. It's going to be the placement, and there's really no place. It's, these.
I mean, not to jump in, but it's been years since my kids are. I would have to think that Macclesfield generates a lot of revenue for the township, and then there's got to be some kind of strategic plan over like for the different parks that now exist. Like, you could have more passive events at the Reflection Garden Park, which is where we have our sensory area for the other children and things. But I mean, to remove stuff and to add and lose a field, there's got to be some numbers. This is not our lane, but it's a strategic park and rec lane.
So I mean, once the long-term plan is complete, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be accessible. They're going to have maybe splash pads, and if this ever comes to fruition, but that's way down the line because that's going to take a lot of money.
Not to jump around, but looking back at the Memorial Park and Secret Garden, we talked about the SofSurface tile system. Has there been any discussion in putting that at other parks and getting rid of the mulch?
That's a good point.
Yeah, not at this time.
Okay.
Because
over here at the kids' castle, they have an accessible swing, but it's all mulch. You can't get to it.
right.
Wow.
And that's like the closest park to our house. So if I just wanted to take the kids to go swing or something, I can't.
And that's one of the most prevalent parks in the township.
For sure.
That's where I used to take my kids, and you've got the swimming pool right there. So to position I don't want to say argument, but that's where we should probably explore trying to get some funding to put some change in that park.
Yeah, and even if they can't do all of it, like you're saying, if they
Just
have an accessible
having the-
swing or an
Yeah.
accessible
Right.
piece of equipment, then there should be some
way
kind
to
of
access it.
surface. Yeah, surface that you can get to it and then participate in it. So, but that's a good point, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it all comes down to money, because right now, we're not replacing it up in Memorial Park because
there's no money.
That's right. And those surfaces are a lot of money. So it's not something that's going to happen quickly, but those are small fixes, maybe just putting a mat or something underneath, like the beach mats, how they put the beach
Yeah, that's
out
what
on
I'm
the
working on at
sand.
the Cape. I've proposed that up in Cape Cod, the beach mats for the bay. But is there, do you think there's somebody that we could reach out to underwrite that or sponsor it? Like Pico did the 5 Mile Woods. I mean, maybe Wegmans might be receptive to doing something, or now.
I mean,
Dunkin' Donuts.
that's what we need to explore for shade up at Memorial
I was
Park
gonna
also.
say,
You know, there's,
Yeah.
once we get this updated, we can kind of sit and talk through ways that we can kind of,
I
that
would
maybe.
Get the ball
I mean,
rolling
that's
on things.
That's, yeah, I'd love to. I mean, that's kind of my lane of
Yeah.
stuff. But because, and this is a topic on our agenda too, but because we've got some new vendors coming in over at Prickett's place, that maybe we can reach out and say, hey, we could price that out, because
pretty
they would
sure
be,
Wawa does community grants too.
yeah, that would
I'm
be
pretty sure
great.
Wawa does community grants.
The drag is we don't have a Wawa, and oh yeah.
Well, there
no,
will be in Newtown Township, which is
that's-
a mile
that's-
from Lower Makefield.
Yeah.
Now, we also have to remember, anytime you receive money like that, it's like a one-time, right? So then the township has to say, okay, oh, it's great to have this $50,000 grant, you're putting this in 6 years it has to be replaced, right?
I know.
It's almost like the maintenance and the upkeep of something doesn't get taken into consideration, and then it deteriorates, and then you have to go out and look for more funding. So it's just, you know,
Like an old house.
yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I think, put that as part of our looking at the AD transmission plan and saying, maybe we make a column for potential funding, like
Yeah.
fundraising,
Yeah,
something that's reasonable, you know, $5,000, because that's probably the funding you would get from a local store, you know.
right.
So we take those little things and try to get that done. Okay. Okay, next we have building plan review. Michelle, do you have any updates for us?
No, only what we discussed about, and I just mentioned that Duck Donuts will be coming in, but no plans from Jim.
No,
Have you seen
I
any-
did send those, he did send the plans.
Did he?
Yeah, I forwarded
didn't
those
get
to
a
you.
chance.
Okay, so they,
Oh, I'm sorry. I unfortunately, I had a last minute thing where I had to be, I wasn't here and I didn't see him.
no,
come
that's
through.
no problem. That's, so he did send those, so we can take a look at it. They're the only store that is, I guess, ready with plans, so.
Okay, and no feedback yet from the restaurant, which we reviewed last time.
No.
So, and no further updates. Does anyone have any input or suggestions on, I have not been in Wegmans. I've been in the Chase over there. So any updates on what's going on or any of that stuff? I haven't seen anything.
No, I mean, and I did ask Jim Majewski about, are there going to be any public restrooms anywhere? Because I know they were discussing this whole concept of having community events, like they have this area. And he said at this time, there's no public restrooms that are on the site plan. So people, you know, restrooms would be located within,
Wegmans.
well, Wegmans or the restaurants and that would be the only places. So of course, they're all going to be looked at as far as accessibility, but it's not going to be any grand, like, public restroom area that maybe we could get involved in creating a better, you know, setup, yeah.
I will say
Do you know-
Wegmans does have a Caroline cart, and they also have another adaptive grocery cart. It's not a
Yeah.
Caroline cart, but it's
Yeah, about
great.
that.
They have two, and
Okay.
most places don't even have one. So
Okay.
That's nice that they have that. And have you been able to go into the restroom there, Abby, to make sure did they have?
I have not been in the restroom.
Okay, I would think they're very forward thinking, but that was not on the plans that Dave and I reviewed. Wow, it's been almost 2 years. That was
Yeah.
one of the first projects that I've been on. I'm just trying to think where they would do community events. Oof. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
that'll be a little time, but
Yeah.
things are moving along. There's a lot more committed, you know, restaurants and stores going in there, so we'll be getting plans for those. All right, and anyone have any new business? Any new business? Oh, okay.
Cynthia, any updates? Have you received anything from the legislators on the elevators? It's funny now that I'm looking at these over 55s up in Massachusetts, and I started thinking about that. I go into a hotel and I was like, it's an elevator. Like, what happens if the elevator doesn't? Have you heard any updates on it?
No, I haven't. I mean, I haven't seen anything in the news. Have you seen anything, Cynthia? I think it's kind of just.
Slow
Yeah.
bureaucracy, writing the bills, and it's a budget year, and it's lots of going on stuff.
Yeah, that it's a nice proposal, like anything else in the House, and I think they have to restart, right? Don't they put up a bill, and then if it doesn't get through, then they have to put it back up? But they have to put it back up in the next session, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where that's going to land. Yeah. All right, do we have any other callers online? No? Okay. Okay. All right, so we need to decide, our next meeting is going to be, we decided to cancel July 10th meeting, so there'll be no board meeting for us July 10th. So the next meeting scheduled would be August 14th at 6 o'clock, and we will be meeting here, and obviously via Zoom for anyone that can't attend. And we will, publish this out on the LMT website, and then people can call in. So we'll continue. And we're going to have to learn at that one to self-administer the Zoom meeting. We won't, we'll have the computer set up here so we can view everything and let people in via telephone. So if everybody's okay with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I do. No, just a quick clarification or question, Lisa. Will we work with the AV folks at LMT? Because I guess you pay to have a Zoom that's over 50 minutes or an hour, I think. So would it be that we just handle?
No, they will have a dedicated computer, and LMT has their own Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we wouldn't
yeah,
have to worry
yeah.
about getting
No,
cut off on
no.
our meeting.
No, it's not our own Zoom account. It's the LMT Zoom
It's the
account
LMT.
that every meeting or commission would be using that computer.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, I will motion to adjourn.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Abby, second. All in favor? Aye, and have a great
Aye.
July 4th. Oh, actually, and
Yes.
we'll